Inner peace is the cornerstone of human health and happiness. Maintaining mental and emotional balance is as important as physical health. However, overthinking can upset this balance, causing stress and anxiety. It constantly occupies our minds, making it full of worries about the past and the future, and making it difficult to enjoy the moment. In a world of overthinking, the Buddha's teachings guide us on the path to finding inner peace. Methods such as mindfulness, observing our thoughts, adopting the middle path, letting go of attachments, cultivating compassion, and practicing patience help us to calm our minds and find peace. These teachings help us lead a calmer and more conscious life. In today's busy life, overthinking can make it difficult to cope with stress and anxiety. However, the Buddha's deeply wise strategies can help us free our minds from the pressure of constant thoughts. With these strategies, we can live a more peaceful and balanced life. 1. Understand mindfulness. It is called a state of mind achieved when you are fully oriented to the present moment in the present moment. This means sharply noticing what you feel without interpretation or judgment. Practicing mindfulness includes breathing methods, guided imagery, and other practices to relax the body and mind and reduce stress. When you are mindful, you watch your thoughts and feelings from a distance. You don't label them as good or bad. Instead of letting your life pass you by, mindfulness means living in the present moment and waking up to your current experience. Think of mindfulness as a calm, slowly flowing stream in your mind. The water is not disturbed by any obstacles. It flows calmly and steadily. Imagine training your mind to free it from the clutter of focused and disturbing thoughts like this river. This means destroying the sources of overthinking and letting thoughts worry you in vain. 2. Observe your thoughts. The process of conscious observation requires a conscious effort with some kind of distance to pay attention to your thoughts. This is similar to stepping back from a complex web of typical thought patterns. Imagine each thought as a thread in this web. By observing these threads, you can begin to understand its structure but not get stuck in it. The Buddha's teachings emphasize the importance of looking at our thoughts without judgment. This means not categorizing thoughts as good or bad or reacting emotionally, but simply acknowledging their presence. It's like watching clouds pass in the sky. You see them, but you don't become them. When you observe your thoughts in this way, you feel as if you are rising above their mental complexity. From this point of view, you can see the pathways of thought patterns more clearly. This perspective is incredibly empowering. It allows you to identify and understand the nature of thoughts while not getting stuck in them. As a result, you can navigate your mental processes with great clarity and ease, freeing you from the mental labyrinth that once limited you. 3. Follow the middle path. Buddhism is a spiritual tradition that emphasizes the importance of finding a harmonious balance in all aspects of life. This philosophy includes a concept summarized in the principle known as the middle way. When it comes to our mental processes, this suggests a balanced approach to our thoughts and emotions. This philosophy becomes particularly relevant when addressing the tendency to overthink. This is a common difficulty that many people face. The middle way is a path of moderation that the Buddha recommended as the most appropriate way to achieve enlightenment and inner peace. It is a middle way that avoids extremes without giving oneself excessive pleasure on the one hand and without giving oneself to suffering on the other. Overthinking is often characterized by excessive or even obsessive dwelling on a single idea or many thoughts. This often leads to a person becoming so caught up in the intricacies of their thoughts that they strive for an empty mind, which can be equally unproductive and potentially stressful. The middle way teaches to navigate between these extremes while encouraging the recognition and acceptance of thoughts rather than clinging tightly to a particular thought. This does not mean letting thoughts roam freely, but rather observing them without judgment or attachment. Similarly, the middle way advises against aggressive suppression of thoughts. Suppression can cause thoughts to become more powerful and pervasive. Instead, Buddhism encourages the gentle release of these thoughts. It teaches that by following the middle path, a state of mental equilibrium can be established, as the Buddha taught. This balance is not static, but requires constant mental alertness and adjustment. It is like walking on a tightrope. At the point of mental equilibrium, there is peace. We neither indulge in excessive thoughts nor force the mind into an artificial silence. By peacefully coexisting with our thoughts, we move towards a calmer and more conscious existence. 4. Release attachments. It is important to understand that clinging too tightly to our desires can cause us distress. Similarly, if we become too permanently attached to thoughts, we can fall into the trap of overthinking. It can be difficult to break out of this vicious cycle. To address this situation, one should consider the wisdom offered by the Buddha, which is about recognizing that our thoughts are transient in nature. They come and go and don't necessarily have a decisive influence on who we are. To begin this practice, begin to observe your thoughts without judgment. When you notice that you are not holding on to a particular thought, gently remind yourself that it is temporary. There is no need to hold on to it or let it control your actions. By adopting this mindset, you are freeing yourself more in the moment and less weighed down by worries about the past or future. This can lead to a clearer mind and a more balanced state of being. Remember, your thoughts are just thoughts. They don't necessarily determine your life. Let them pass by like clouds in the sky and find a sense of peace in the space they leave behind. 5. Cultivate compassion. Compassion is the cornerstone of emotional well-being and is a fundamental concept in the Buddha's teachings, known as karuna. Compassion is the willingness to reduce suffering, not only for ourselves, but for all beings. It is an empathic response that transcends not only understanding but active intention. When we get caught up in overthinking, compassion can be an extremely powerful tool. Overthinking often revolves around worries, fears, and unrealizable situations, which can lead to a cycle of mental distress. Compassion offers a way out of this cycle because it encourages gentle acceptance of the distress experienced. This is the first step in recognizing compassion in a non-judgmental or critical way. Once we acknowledge this distress, we validate our search for relief. By cultivating compassion for ourselves, we can begin to quiet the inner critical voice that often promotes overthinking. This inner critic can constantly point out our flaws, mistakes, and inadequacies, which increases our anxiety and overthinking. Self-compassion helps to transform this inner conversation into something more nurturing, supportive, and kind. Imagine your mind is like a stormy sea. Overthinking is like a storm stirring up the waters. Waves of compassion, like a gentle handkerchief that helps you calm down, bring peace to the waters and guide you towards the shore. When we are more compassionate with ourselves, we may find that this attitude naturally extends to others. This expanded sense of compassion can help us feel a greater connection with others, because others, like us, are doing their best to cope with life's challenges. 6. Practice patience. In Buddhism, patience is revered as an essential virtue for dealing with the ebbs and flows of human experience. Quickness and agitation are known as the soothing balm for the wounds we often inflict on ourselves. These mental states are known to feed the fires of overthinking and inevitably create a mood cycle. Embracing patience means sticking to a calm practice and honoring the natural progression of events. This can greatly reduce the need to solve all of life's puzzles at once. By cultivating patience, we effectively slow down our internal clock, which we may find naturally extends to others as we become more compassionate with ourselves, as our minds become quieter. The timeless teachings of Gautama Buddha offer valuable strategies for freeing our minds from the relentless grasp of overthinking. These teachings preach the importance of mindfulness, observing our thoughts without judgment, meditating, focusing on helpful thoughts, and embracing impermanence contribute to a more peaceful and mindful existence. The wisdom of the Buddha guides us towards the calm current of mindfulness in navigating the waters of our thoughts and emotions. When we integrate these teachings into our daily lives, we can break the cycle of overthinking, reduce stress and anxiety, and develop inner peace. When we embark on this transformative journey, we not only find peace for ourselves, but also contribute to a kinder and more empathetic world.